Brilliant. Hello, everybody. It's Jake Rahman here, and welcome to the last day of IMSH. IMSH 2025, 25 years of IMSH. Woo, yeah. We're here between two simulators, as you can see, and with me I have Maxim Gorshkov, who is joining us here for an interview. Maxim, EuroMedSim, the European Institute of Simulation in Medicine, is here to answer some questions from me, and thanks for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Jake, thank
good
you.
to have you here. I think first time we met was in St. Petersburg.
Could be,
in Russia.
2019 probably.
I think it was 2019.
Right,
yeah,
so
yeah.
quite a long time.
Long time ago.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you haven't aged, but I have. So, just a few questions that we're going to ask you. We want to find out a little bit more about what you do. You're a very busy man.
Thank you.
First of all, how do you do it? How do you keep all these roles going that you have?
Well, I do have a beloved wife, 4 kids. Some of them already not kids. Jack Russell Terrier, Milo. There is a museum of medicine, so there are a lot of things to do. But when you do what you like to do, then you will always find time for your things.
Yeah.
Right.
So a doctor of medicine, a change in direction to a diploma in organizational management, a master's degree in medical simulation in Austria. You know, how did each road lead to the next? How did you end up in medical simulation?
Well, actually, first of all, I really love to study. So I enter one university, then second university, then third university, then fourth. No, I'm just kidding, of course. It's not it's not the case. But I mean, first I was from the childhood, I was dreaming to become a doctor, and I became a doctor, actually. Then there was lots of changes in the life and in the country generally and personally. So I was quite soon I was facing the simulation. Actually, I started simulation in the beginning of 90s. We were teaching laparoscopic surgeons with the simulation methodology, and that was quite changing the life. Then the management of organizations was also important. I just wanted to a little bit to structurize my knowledges, and the medical simulation was also kind of structurizing of my autodidactic knowledges. And as soon as I live and work in Germany, interesting, but the only German-speaking master program is in Graz Medical University in Austria, which I applied in 2020. Then you know what happened in 2020.
Yeah.
The bigger part of the course came gone online, but still we had a chance to participate in person. It was very interesting experience. So 3 years program was of course very useful.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you're still developing what you do. You're still going forward.
Yeah, we all of us are trying to make a continuous professional development, and this is maybe kind of an example of that.
Yeah. I'm really interested in your research on laparoscopic surgery and the fundamentals of laparoscopic surgery. To put a bit of context here, we're in IMSH 2025. There's not a lot that appears on the program for surgical simulation, yet the surgical simulation companies do continue to attend. I personally would like to see on all simulation conferences more for surgical ultrasound and even task training. I wonder if you could give me an overview on your views on where laparoscopic surgery fits into this place, and also, you know, give us an overview on the research that you've done so far on the fundamentals of the laparoscopic surgery.
Well, as you said, we all are busy people, and there is a kind of internal competition. You think, what would you like to do? To go to your garden, or to go to your research, or to go to the specialized conference? And every time there is a kind of internal competition. And I'm afraid the conferences like this one, or like CISM or whatever, they are not standing on the first row of the list of surgical interests. And even if you go to the surgical conferences, you will see that. Let me give you an example. The last Congress of German Surgeons. It's a big event. It's actually German-speaking surgeons, and there are about 3,000 participants in the Congress. And if you come to the sections where they are discussing the surgical training, there may be 50 surgeons there. Half of them are presenters and their friends. So it's kind of always there are more important things for them to attend, to think, to research, etc., etc. That's my opinion.
So what do you think that we can do and organisations can do to encourage more on the programme for surgical educators overall, and to be more inclusive as a simulation family as a whole?
Well, there can be several considerations, and serious and funny. If we will bring Mark Zuckerberg to the convention, then probably the Orlando Stadium will be not fitting all the willing people to visit our conference. But seriously, I do think we are not very keen on working with the professional societies. So just try to figure out, if you are a urologist, why should you come to the CISM or IMSH or any simulation conference? There should be a reason to come. And they, of course, they do have also the general approach to the patient, which can be applied through simulation methodology, beside of their practical training. But again, it must be kind of a project to attract those people, to have a surgical track, to have a surgical workshops, to bring the interesting people known to the surgical society, to work together with the surgical societies. I'm sure if we would talk to American College of Surgeons and bring them to the organizing committee of the conferences, then they will attract and bring their audience to us. I think so.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And, if anybody from IMSH, CESAM or ASPE are listening, I think that's probably the way to do it. Go and lobby the surgical colleges out there, Royal College of Surgeons in the UK, for instance.
Right.
I'm sure that they would attend. Surgical simulation overall, laparoscopic surgery, I think it is anecdotally, and also as well from a research point of view, one of the easiest things to show that healthcare simulation or medical simulation works because of the metrics involved.
Right.
I wonder if you could sort of give us more of an understanding why it hasn't been more widely adopted when it does show quite clear metrics of what it can prove.
This is an absolutely genial question. And as every time I'm thinking why it is not the case, I get the different answers. And there could be lots of different answers. Actually, the laparoscopic training started as soon as the laparoscopy started. So they realized that their practical skills they have are not applicable to the laparoscopic environment. There are lots of things different from the open surgery. So they try to find a way to train those interesting new skills. And one of the first program was even called Top Gun, like a movie. Yeah. So they made several exercises, called them Top Gun, and they found out that with the structurized training, they come into the proficiency much quicker than without a structured program. And yeah, but I mean, still there are lots of answers why it is like that. I think the one of the answers is that they are working inside of a very closed society, so there is nobody from outside is coming inside, etc. So they do the training inside, they train the people, check the people, assess them, give the notes, and then they're happy what they have done. It's like, I don't know, like you are doing the cars and prove the car yourself and then say, here is the price, and then get the price for that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there are lots of explanation of that. And also the surgeons were always a little bit aside of the general practitioners, of the physicians. You in England, I guess they still call Mr. Gorshkov, not Dr. Gorshkov, if you are a surgeon.
Yeah.
So this has a lot of historical roots. Yeah.
Yeah. So you think possibly there could be a hierarchical problem that creates this?
Yeah, and different approach to the surgical training, and they still are very keen on the apprenticeship model,
Yeah.
which is absolutely fantastic, but we cannot afford it.
Yeah.
I mean, the best way to train surgeon is to bring surgeon to the OR and give surgeon a way to be trained very in a realistic way, etc. But it's not the 18th century. I mean, you cannot do that.
Yeah. I mean that's always been the thing for me when you're talking about surgical simulators and the way people traditionally trained. If you're a trainee and you had Mr. Whatever said, actually, come and assist me today, or you could be on the simulator. You know, what would you do as a trainee? Probably you would go and assist the surgeon, right?
Right. I mean, always training in the real environment is always better in terms of realism, in terms of the emotional impact, etc. But then we can come to the real skills. I mean, skills like scales or like playing tennis or whatever.
Yeah.
You need to be skilled. And then the interesting thing, you never check if the surgeon is skilled.
Yeah.
Do you know about the exam of skill in surgery?
Yeah.
I mean, the only probably exam is FLS, which is not the obligate in many countries. And again, coming to the German Congress, there was a interesting presentation about the training of surgeons. It was a very good one, and he told about how difficult their training was and how difficult it is now, etc., etc. And then it was actually, that time it was a big audience because it was sponsored by one of the major medical device companies. By the way, that's another case how to attract surgeons to us. Yeah, so he said questions, and my question was, do you have in Germany, I knew the answer, but still I wanted him to answer, do you have in Germany the kind of driver license exam? If not, are you going to have that? And I said, no, we don't. Next question, please.
Yeah. I mean, it's really interesting subject because, especially when you have industry more involved in surgical training, which could, you know, from a conference point of view as well, it could invite bigger players into the conference if you up the ante, if you like, for surgical training, and bring it into simulation conferences such as this.
Right, you're right. But then very important is they do participate the conferences. The question is how to attract those companies to participate our conferences, not surgical ones.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. So surgical aside, I see you have a keen interest in VR and AR.
Right.
VR and AR, there's been lots and lots of VR and AR purchased out there over the past couple of years. Okay. And big investments have been made. How do you think the actual adoption is going, though, within universities and hospitals?
Well, of course it is different. Medicine is always a healthy conservative, and that is why probably one of the reasons why it is not widely adopted. Plus, the changes are very fast changes. You never know what you will see the next exhibition. This exhibition is my feeling about 30% of the companies are virtual, digital, or XR, any kind of IT digital solutions in the training. Maybe even more. Maybe the half of them are like that. Let me give you another story. I have had a lunch yesterday, 2 days ago, here in the conference, and there were several people sitting around these big tables, and they started conversation. They involved me into the conversation, actually, and then I asked them, "You are all from nursing colleges, schools of nurses.
Yep.
Do you use virtual patients?" And they said, "No." And I said, "Why?" And they said, "We don't know." And then I said, "Okay, let's go from another side. You have a car. In the car, you probably do not already have the maps of the roads on paper. You have a Navi. Yeah, we do have navigation system. Why you don't have paper solutions in your car, but still you have paper solutions in your medical college?" And they start thinking about that. And then they said, okay, we do everything on SPs, simulation patients or standardized patients, if it is examination. And I said, "How much costs an hour of SP?" $20. Okay, how many students do you have? 1,000. And I said, "Now figure it out. If you need to train your students on a patient, you are not able to train them on a patient. Then you take the standardized patient, and every skill, every communication, every topic, difficult patient, bad news, etc. There are lots of things to be trained. Every time you need a SP, which costs you $20.
Yeah.
So if you have 1,000 students in your college, 1 hour of training of all of them will cost you $20,000.
Yeah.
And this is the kind of objection to the very obvious answer: "Oh, we don't have money for new technologies. We don't have money for virtual patients," which is also the case normally to be answered. And I mean, it's not calculated. It's not truth. It looks like it is somehow strange. And I'm not against of simulation patients. That's a brilliant tool. That's a marvelous thing to do. But again, if you have a basic skills, if you have a standardized procedure to be trained, to be taught, then you need very simple tools like a cell phone with the application inside, and then you make this training on the cell phone or training in the VR headsets, etc. So everything can be done before SP, first in the virtual environment. And if we think about the historical development of the medical training, medical education, we see that first it was only practice. Then it was theory and practice, sometimes even without practice, but I mean, two components. Then we actually witness how there is a third very important component: theory, simulation, and practice. And now it looks like there is a theory, digital training, physical training on the simulators or SPs, and then practice. So this, we see how is the coming in, the rising up the virtual component of medical training. I do believe it will be happen very soon.
So you know, what I hear from that is, first of all, that companies have got to be more direct and honest about where their product fits in within the ecosystem, really, and it's not everything; it's just a part of it. Yeah. What about the companies that need to provide more support for people to adopt it? What do you think about that? Do you think people are getting enough support once they buy the equipment?
That's a very good point, by the way. If you buy something, whatever, I don't know, cell phone, everything, even a backpack, you will get a kind of a user manual attached. More complicated tool is, more bigger is the manual, user manual. And then we all know nobody's reading these user manuals. And that is why, very interesting thing, a lot of complicated surgical or medical tools right now are provided with the simulation training as a part of the equipment. I mean, it's not like training and equipment. It's like a complex system, entire system of that. So very good example is the robotic surgical systems. You cannot imagine putting into the process in the clinic, in the hospital, a robotic system without the previous training on that.
Yeah.
And this previous training is almost 100% is in the virtual reality, on the virtual simulators, trainers. And I do believe that very soon, by the way, I do believe that every medical device, especially complex device like ventilator, like ECG, like ultrasound machine, everything will come with the user manual in terms of simulation. So it will be provided with the appropriate simulator and appropriate course of the training to this simulator, to this device.
Yeah. So basically, what you're saying is that if there was more intuitive ways of training with that equipment, it will probably
absolutely right. I mean, reading the text is nice, but we have new generation of people. We have absolutely new and more complex technologies, and we do have bigger risks, etc. There are lots of reasons why it should be done, and lots of companies doing that already. There are, I wouldn't give you the names of the companies, but there are lots of companies in artificial kidney, in ventilation, in CT scans, in ultrasound. They do on purpose the simulation training, first as a onboarding tool, and second as a educational tool, because if the users will be not able to use their machines, they will not buy that again. So that's the point.
Well, I mean, it's a really good example as well, because out of the clinical world, what do we do if we've got a piece of tech and we don't know how to use it? We go and find a YouTube video, right? And those people are making their own YouTube videos, and you can learn how to do anything these days.
Right.
So that sort of resource is something that people need in medical simulation.
Video is very good, but simulation is the next.
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder if you could tell us more about the key objectives of Euromed Sim.
Well, the key objectives are very similar to those of our societies. First of all, we want to research.
Yep.
So we do researches in different fields of simulation, like surgical simulation, like virtual simulation. Yep. We are trying to implement AI, so these kind of things. The second is advocacy. So we are trying to bring the benefits of simulation to as bigger as possible amount of medical healthcare professionals. And a part of that is and also a separate part is the training. So we provide courses mostly addressed to the simulation educators. So we do the educational programs for the simulationists.
Okay. And have you got anything that's going on at the moment? Anything you want to talk about that people should look up?
Well,
any events?
There are no special events to talk about, but we do have both short courses and long, like half a year courses, and we participate in those half-a-year courses because it's based on hybrid methodology. There are online lectures weekly within the half a year with additional tasks like create your own clinical scenarios, revise clinical scenarios, create write research, then review the research of your peers. So it is kind of interactive. And then there is a practical part with the using of different types and different modalities of simulators. This kind of things may be very interesting.
Yeah. Okay. So, where did we go to find out more about?
There is a website, Euromedicine.com, and there is the part of Euromedicine is a medical museum, which has a very simple website name, medicine.museum. You are very welcome to visit it, and there are information about, I'm a curator of this museum, so there are surgical instruments 300 years old, and there are unique books like first editions of Ambroise Paré and Alessandro Brambilla, Nikolai Pirogov, Ivan Pavlov. So these kind of books you can find also online there.
Where is the museum?
The museum is mostly online project because our museum face absolutely the same problem every museum face: space. So we do have on-site exhibition in the office of our institute, but it should be much more.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate it. It's a great insight, especially into surgical side, because that has been one of the conversations that's been missing over the past 3 days. So I really appreciate you coming along, Maxim, and hopefully you'll join us again when we do this again.
Absolutely. I'm very happy that you found this possibility and invited me, and was very interesting and pleasant talk to you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Cheers.